Hello, hello, hello. How are you? This is Els Kennedy from Beam's Crafty Corner. Today we're going to be making these. They're just little charms, that you can hang on your journals. And these are made from packaging. So they're just pieces of packaging, and I've turned them into charms, and here's what they look like. And so we're going to be doing this today, okay? So we're going to get out a bunch of tools, and we're going to go ahead and get started prepping these, all right? So I'll be back in just a minute with a list of tools, and we'll get started. Okay, so what are we going to want for this one? Well, we're going to want some eyelets, hole punch, some blings and pieces of ephemera and things to, dress these up a little bit. Bulb pins. And a bulb pin are these pins that look like this. If you look at them this way, it kind of looks a bit like a light bulb or like a gourd. Some people call them gourd pins, but they're called bulb pins. We're going to want some bulb pins. If you don't have bulb pins, use a piece of string. Use whatever you've got, okay? We're going to want some either gold or silver ink if you have it, or these paint pens. And you can use any kind of paint pen you want. If you have one of these, by all means use it, but you definitely want the fine line. And I have the gold and the silver that I carry in my shop, so I'm going to use those. Punches, cutting dies and a die cutting machine, hot glue, regular glue, and packaging. So these are, backs from when I order stickers and things. This is from a set of scissors. This is from some washi tape, and this is just some weird postcards that I had. So that kind of stuff, you're going to just want to get out some packaging, okay? Now, where to begin? Well, where to begin is other thing. Make sure you have something to protect your desk from your paint pens, okay? So, I'm going to go ahead and get all this stuff out of the way, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to do some punching and cutting and getting stuff ready to go, okay? So I'll be right back. Okay. So what I have here is, just some pieces of cardboard, and I have some different size punches. Now this one's kind of on the large size for this project. That is a 1.5 inch, and I kind of like, to keep it at the 1 inch. And all I'm going to do is kind of put this on here, find something that I find interesting, and punch it out. Okay, and I want 2 for each one of these charms, so we're just going to punch a couple of these out. We're going to cut some dies too. And again, what we're looking for is something that's small. Okay, I think this little shape in the middle here would be interesting. So, let's cut one of those. And again, we need 2. Let's go ahead and cut it out of this. Now this may be a little bit harder to cut because it is packaging, so it's, a little thicker than cardstock. but shouldn't be too much of a problem. All right, and then I'm going to cut another piece of this. Go. So now we have our 2 pieces of that at this with this design, and let's see, let's do one more. This cute little banner. Let's take the banner out of this. Now this is kind of thick. It's more a chipboard than just, you know, regular cardstock. So I don't know if this is going to work in the little machine. If it doesn't, we'll put it in the big one. Ooh, a little tight. Now, obviously, if you don't have, you know, a die cutting machine or dies, you could just cut some shapes. Cut some squares. Trace some quarters and cut those out. Whatever it is you have, okay? All right, here we go. Last one. There we go. Get it in there straight. There we go. All right. All right. I'm going to make all of this go away and I'll be right back. Alright, so the next part is to glue these up. So basically all we're going to do is just put glue on the back. And we're going to glue the 2 pieces together. We want them nice and even. And once we have these glued up and they're dry, we can move on to the next part, okay? So I'm going to let these dry, and then as soon as they're all dry and set, I'll come back and we'll move on to the next step here in the process, okay? All right, so I'll be right back. So these are actually dry and they're all set up, so we're going to move on to the next part. Now, this is not important. You don't want to really, you don't need to get this on the top. I just want to put it on the edges to make sure, and gives me a second to chat. So the next thing we're going to be doing is adding kind of the gold around the edge. And if you don't have a gold paint pen, you could roll this on your pad and then dip it in embossing fluid, embossing powder, and you could emboss the edge. We'll try that. You could just use a marker if you have just a marker. If you have just an ink pad that's, in a color that's pleasing, you could do that. Or jelly pen. A couple of different ways. Now, I just put ink on them because I like the look of having it finished. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and just along the edge. Now, if you don't trust yourself to do it just along the edge, and you think you're going to make a mess out of this, use a ruler. Put a ruler on there. And just expose as much as you want to color. What I find is most of these dies have kind of a little lip around the edge. So I just kind of run along that lip. I think I'm going to do these in silver. That'll drive me crazy. And I'm just staying as far to the outside as I can. And we'll go ahead and do this one as well. Now once these are dry, I'll turn them over and do the other side as well. And then the next part of this is going to be putting in the eyelet and, the pin, the bulb pin, and decorating. Alright, so I'm going to let these dry, and then when I come back, we'll get started on the next part. Be right back. So these are dry, okay? And so our next step is going to be to set some eyelets. I have a few here I pulled. If I can get the container open. Right in the, there we go. Alright, so I just have some eyelets. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these and I'm going to pop a hole in them. Now I want to make sure that I get the hole in there deep enough. Not that it's right on the edge, but not that it's, in the middle. And this one. And this one, I think I'm going to put the hole off to the side. Alright, so once I have the holes in, now I can go in and I can put in an eyelet. And I'm not really picking color here. I'm just kind of putting them in. Oops. One more. Come on, let me pick something up. Here we go. My fingers, my hands. I'm getting old, guys. My hands do not like to work. Okay. This one is thicker than the other, so I'm just going to make sure that I get that eyelid in there. Ooh, just barely. All right. So let me get these out of the way. Put them in there. That's so Harry doesn't steal them, and if he does, he doesn't get to open them. All right, so there we have our little eyelets, and the next step is going to be to put in our bulb pins. Let's do... Now again, if you don't have like a bunch of colors here, you could just use whatever it is you have. So if you just have, you know, silver and black and some gold toned ones, then just use those. It doesn't really matter here. Now, if you want, you could add a couple of seed beads to these. On the pins. And that always looks really cute. But at this point, what we're going to do is I'm going to turn this paper over so we don't all have to look at the speckles. I'm going to get rid of all the rest of this stuff that we don't need, and I'm going to get out some decorations, and we're going to decorate these. I'll be right back. Decorating. Okay, so I have here some tiny gears, and these are small, so like we don't want to put that on there. It's too much, okay? But you could put this one on there because it's small, okay? So I have out some gears. I don't know that I'll use them, but you know, we have them. I have some little bits and pieces here from the snippets. I have some tiny little keys. We might use those. And I have a little teeny ladybug. I have some flowers. Now, when you're looking at the flowers, let's take a look. There's a difference here. Okay. So these are tiny little flowers, and they work. And I'll show you guys this stuff up close, okay? When we actually get started. Bigger flowers can work if that's all you're putting on there, or if it's a bigger piece, okay? So we got those. I got some bows. I have some little cabochons. I have some tiny little gems. I have this little newspaper sticker that we can, you know, tear to get a little piece of if we want. And I have some rub-ons that have tiny pieces. Okay? So these are all the things that we can use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the camera in so that you guys can see everything. And then we're going to go ahead and decorate these, okay? So I will be right back. All right, so I brought the camera down, and I'm going to go ahead and turn on my hot glue gun, because if I want to put anything large on these, the hot glue is going to be the best way, like the flowers and things. So we have hot glue, we have little bits of things, we have some rub-ons, and we have some like newspaper. Let's see. The whole point of this is scale. you have to kind of stick to scale, okay? Don't want to go with a big, huge piece on a tiny little tag. It's not going to work. Okay, so I've cut a little piece of newspaper here, and I'm just going to put some regular old ink on it. And that's because this particular piece doesn't have a lot of going on in the background. It's just an image, kind of. And it's kind of monochromatic. So, here we go. A little bit of glue because I never trust anything sticky. You may find that using tweezers is helpful with this. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a little rub on here while we're waiting for the hot glue to heat up. Okay. I'm happy with it. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. And let's do one of these little round ones. Now I have a tiny little applique. That's a bit much. Okay. So you don't have to keep everything on it. You can use it as a base and, you know, put stuff off of it. Entirely up to you. So what I'm going to do is add this. And I'm going to put a flower here. I just don't think it's going to be that one. I think it's going to be this one. Let's see if this is hot. Okay, and then we have this one. What should we do with it? Let's see. have a little key. I don't know how the key works, but it works. And then we have this one. Now this one is bigger, so we can use the bigger flower if we want to. And I think we're going to. Okay. Now I hear a lot of people go, hot glue does not stick. Yes, it does. The problem you're having is that you're just not getting it when it's still hot. It has to be hot to work, hence the hot glue. And let's see. I think we'll put another key on here. We're just going to do it right here. All right. So now we have those all done. We're going to let the glue dry, and then when we come back, we'll take a look at them, okay? I'll be right back. So, these are the original 3 pieces, and these are the 4 that we just did. So, the original ones, we have this little shape right here, which is just like a little house shape almost. And I just put a paper flower on that because it's a bigger piece, a little bit of ribbon. This one here, it's the exact same packaging as this. The only difference is I didn't do a lot on this. I just added this little bit of bling just so that it sparkles. That's it. And then this one here, that butterfly is actually part of the packaging that I cut out. And I just added a little diamond there at the top. And then this is the one that we did. This has got a little key on it in the rose, and I added a little bit of bling right there again, so you get a little bit of shimmer and shine out of it. And then this one just has a little flower on it and a little phrase. This one actually comes off the edge, you know, no big deal. Then there's this one that's got a little bouquet of flowers with a key, and I added a little bit of blue bling to it just so that it pops a little bit. And this one is the one that we did with the washi sticker and the rub-on. And I went back in and I put a second rub-on on this just to give it a little bit more color and a little bit more depth. But that's it. That's how easy these are. Once you get started on these things, you're going to be doing them forever. And you're just going to do them again and again and again. You're going to have a whole box full of them. And then you're going to get mad at me because you have a no-no box too. But that's it. That's all I have for you today. If you're new here and you haven't done so already, hit the button for me and subscribe. Like me, ring my bell, share me with all your friends. Check out the community tab here on the YouTube channel or scoot on over to the Facebook group. There's links in the description box below. Also, we welcome you and invite you to join us on our annual challenge. Whatever that may be when you're watching this video. But in the year that this was made, it's 52 cards in 52 weeks. And that's it. Until I see you again, stay well, my friends. Bye-bye.